I'm your host, Scary Pops, and everybody loves a good scare. So let's get into it.
I'm a former Target employee. I worked there 5 years ago, pushing carts in the parking lot. This was one of my favorite jobs that I've had so far, to be honest. It was pretty enjoyable and easy work. However, I do have one really scary story to tell. This is something that still creeps me out when I think about it. I worked at a super Target and it was in a busy area. The store and the parking lot were very big, and they were close to other stores and restaurants that were close by. This made work challenging occasionally because of how busy it would get. One time, I was working a night shift, and it had been really busy in the day earlier, but by now, things were very calm. It felt like the calm after the storm, because the carts were scattered throughout the parking lot, not just in the corrals. This was typical on busy days. When I had the time later, I would go all around the parking lot and retrieve the carts that were not in the corrals. I would also bring all the ones that were in the corrals back to the store as well. Obviously, with how busy it had been earlier, I hadn't been able to keep up with the parking lot as perfectly as I would like. So, it was probably about 9 p.m. or so. I went to the northeast corner of the parking lot. There was a cart that was against the curb at the corner the farthest away from the store. I walked over and got the cart. As soon as I was grabbing it, I noticed an SUV pulling into this area of the parking lot. There was an entrance/exit right there as well. The SUV did not keep driving though. Instead, it stopped right in front of me. I found this kind of strange, but I just got the cart and started walking back to the store. But that's when I heard a voice call out, "Hey!" I looked back and saw a man getting out of the SUV. The vehicle was not parked in a parking space, but just parked there, partly covering 2 different spaces and the driving area. The guy said to me that maybe I could help him with something. I stopped with the cart and looked back to him. I asked him what he needed help with. The man waved me over and I started walking to him. He said that he didn't know if I knew much about cars or not, but he didn't, and something weird was happening with his. The man was short, but looked sort of strong. I did know a little bit about cars, but not a whole lot. I was hoping that I would be able to help the man with this problem though. Then, the man asked me to get inside the backseat of his car and listen to the weird noise it made when he drove. The question really seemed to come out of left field. It took me by surprise, and it also seemed really sketchy. I changed my mind suddenly. "Actually, I really don't know anything about cars," I said. Then, I turned around to get my cart and started walking back over to it. The man told me to wait, but I didn't. I kept walking, making my way back to the Target. I heard footsteps of the man coming after me though. This was really strange. I sped up. The guy behind me seemed to speed up as well. At that point, I decided to just start sprinting. I felt like I was in danger, and I knew if I made it in the Target, I would be safe. I ran all the way there, sprinting with the cart, and the man could not keep up and stopped chasing me. When I got back inside, I decided to work on the other end of the parking lot for a while, and that's exactly what I did. And I also tried to stay close to the building as I collected carts from the other end. Everything went fine. I looked out to the other side of the parking lot where the man and his car had been, and I didn't see him or the SUV. He must have left, which was good. After working for a while, it was time for my final break of the day. It was a 15-minute break. I walked back inside and into the break room. There, I sat on my phone, scrolling through social media and Snapchatting with friends. At that time, I was the only person in the break room. With it being late, there was an overlap of people at the end of their evening shifts or at the beginning of their overnight shifts. Nobody else was taking their break. This was fine with me. About halfway through, I heard the door to the break room open and close. There was a little hallway with a closet that led into the break room. I expected somebody to enter the room, but no one did. I didn't think anything of it. I continued sitting in my chair and looking at my phone, but several moments later, I had a strange feeling. It was like the feeling that I was being watched. I usually don't get this feeling, so when I did, I turned around. That's when I saw the guy who had chased after me earlier. He was standing in the entrance of the break room, looking right at me. Then, he started walking closer to me. I got up and once again sprinted away from the man. I ran out the other exit of the break room, which led to an employees-only area where you punched in, and there was a desk there as well. Nobody was back there at the time. There was also a door leading to outside, and I ran out of it and back into the parking lot. I ran around to the other entrance door and quickly found one of the managers. I told them the whole story, but when they went into the break room, the man was gone. He must have exited after I had. Luckily, I didn't have much time left on the clock. I worked very carefully for the next 30 minutes or so. Then I punched out and went home. I never saw the man again. After this incident, I worked at Target for quite a while. Nothing like that ever happened again, which I'm glad to say.
A man is playing a game of hide and seek with his daughter. A simply innocent game, to spend time with each other. However, there is just one problem. It's not just the two of them. It seems that someone or something from the other side wants to play too. What you are about to see is unnerving.
Ariana, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm playing hide and seek.
With who?
My friend Mabel.
Oh, okay. Would you want to play hide and seek with me?
Sure.
Okay, now you can play the real person, so I'm going to actually look for you, and I'm going to do all the counting, okay?
Alright.
Okay, and you're going to be the one hiding.
Alright.
Okay, ready? I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? Turn off the lights, cheating. There we go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here I go. Better be in a good spot. Where are you? Huh. Ariana, could you be in the closet? Gotcha. Ariana. 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 Ariana? Ah, I see you behind the dresser. What the? Ariana?
You found me.
So did this father catch something or someone from another realm on camera? Or could it all be a hoax? One thing is for certain. Some things are better left alone.
My wife woke me up last night to tell me there was an intruder in the house. But she was murdered by an intruder 2 years ago. The last survivors now sat together in a vacant hotel room when suddenly there was a knock at the door. All the color on Eden's face flushed away. Elder was dead asleep, and Greg looked at me and I looked at him. And without a second's hesitation, I rose from the chair as swift as a soul does when leaving the body. "We're not alone," Greg whispered. I gave him a nod towards the door to lead the way. My heart was pacing rapid, but my thoughts were as still, as dead as a breeze. We're poised and ready. Greg peeked through the peephole. Instantly, he collapsed. The knock came once more. Without looking away, I whispered over to Eden to wake Elder. My curiosity drove me onward as I began to step forward. I recalled a quote that I read some time ago. It read, "Smart people learn from their mistakes, but the real sharp ones learn from the mistakes of others." As much as I had a desire to peep through the door myself, I had just as much of a desire to avoid what happened to poor Greg. I stopped just before reaching the door. I had to think fast. What's going on? Elder said, half asleep. Then Eden immediately, shh, and pointed to the door. There's something out there. It had been several months since we last had contact with any other life. What awaited us on the other side of the door was unknown. But one thing was certain. We had to leave, and we had to leave now. Grab your things, we're leaving, I said as I clenched my fist. Well, what about Greg? Elder expressed only perplexity, for he had missed the entire ordeal. He's dead, and we gotta go. And with that, not another sound was uttered. We collected our few belongings and made our way out through the back window. Eden went first, then Elder, and finally myself. As I was halfway out and over the opening, I could hear the door creak open, and what sounded like Greg's body being dragged across the floor. I didn't look back. I just hastened my step. Outside it was cold, it was dark, there was a hint of death still in the air. But we moved like thieves in the night, silent and agile, as our only goal was to survive this night. Like it had been the night prior and the night before that, all was the same, except we were now short a man. I'm scared, Eden said, as we moved into the next building, hoping to find sanctuary. I understand, but right now, I need you to be brave. I won't let anything happen to you, I reassured her. Whether she believed me or not, I cannot say, but at the moment, that's all I had. I'll take point, and Elder will cover our 6. And with that, I led us into the dark. What we were up against, I could not say, but I knew that until we figured that out, it'd be best to avoid contact. From what we could tell, we were some of the, if not the only, remaining survivors on the planet. And that included both specimens of animals and plants alike. We cleared the floor, and as we were about to move upstairs, Eden reached for my hand. I felt her sharp nails cut deep into my flesh. I turned to shine my light on her, and I could see only pain in her soul. Elder was nowhere in sight, and I knew she was about to be next. As attached down at her feet was a tiny, serpent-like creature slithering up and around her body. I refrained from shooting because everything that now plagued our planet seemed to respond to sound, and so I opted for my blade, attempting to pierce through it instead, but almost as if on cue, the serpent disappeared under and into her flesh. It began to drain her of fluids. I've never felt so hopeless in my life. Kill me, please, she uttered. I reached for my rifle and told her I was sorry. The sound echoed throughout the empty house. I knew they were coming now, but I would not take the easy way out. I'm going to go out with a fight. That's what I have to give. A fight. The floor trembled, and the sounds of death now shifted towards me. I thought of all the wrongs I've ever committed in this life and wondered, what awaits next? Would there be more? Would I ever see Greg, Elder, or Eden again? I cannot say, but I sure hope so. The walls around me began to tremble and fall. Whatever was coming, whatever was near, it was here. I beamed my light up and it began to flicker. I could make out only shadows dancing around. The stench was horrid. It was stagnant and lingering. My skin was scalding, as if the sun had somehow appeared through this vast darkness and magnified all of its might upon me. I was the last man standing, but as all things that have a beginning, all things too must have an end. I realized this was mine. I knew I had a choice to make, for we always do. Either put one in your skull and take the easy way out, or write it out and fight till the very end. I opted for the latter. As I finally laid eyes upon death, I smiled.